everybody. Welcome to episode 20 of Anything But Everything, the official podcast for certified blockheads. I am your host, Goose.
No.
I'm Bonnie.
It's me, Brady. Hello.
We got the gang back together again.
True.
It's
the second time.
Yes, the big old episode 20. Finally, double digits. I was originally gonna do another questionnaire where we answer questions, but nobody asked questions that weren't like, "Hey, does it jiggle?" or "Can I borrow $20?" So we'll just save that for, I don't know, the next time we get questions or something. I don't know.
Well, there was
Maybe
that
the next
one
milestone.
question. That one question from that one user who left that said, "Where were you on November 9th?" But I don't know if that was a
Oh
viewer.
yeah, there's a lot of ones like that. It's like just a bunch of weirdos that were like, "What middle school did you go to?"
I think that I should have asked, "Hey, I thought I saw you one time. Was that you?"
We should just pick one, because like one question per episode, because I feel like that would be a little bit better than trying to answer like a bunch at once.
I mean, it worked last time. I really don't know why it didn't work this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I wasn't hammering it home like I should have.
Actually, I guess not to interrupt. I was gonna say, to be fair, I guess because we really didn't have many new people come into the server, so anyone who asked questions already did the first time.
That's true.
True.
Anywho, it's episode 20. I was originally gonna record this episode much closer to Thanksgiving, but shit happens, and shit did happen. So we got to hear now. Maybe we can get 2 episodes out this month. But we'll see what happens. No promises.
This is why
in
I
other
get
news,
fucking moving.
True. In other news, what have you three been up to lately?
Well, I was convicted of a federal crime and had to flee my state.
Oh.
They don't know where I am. I am in a bunker, and I've been without any human interaction for nearly a month now. I'm running out of food, so if anybody has that.
What about your wife?
You sound like you're in Berlin in a bunker.
Why would you say that? Why the fuck would you say? I told you that in confidence.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you did change your name to Bunk Snacks 5, so we were gonna catch on at some point.
Oh my fucking! You fucking people need to.
I want to hear from the Squiddy.
Squiddy?
So Connor did the big move.
What are you
I wonder
doing?
who that could be in reference to.
Go on, Brady.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Squidward. I mean, he didn't say anything yet, but
just
You're my-
you have your face resting on your palm, just daydreaming about Squidward.
You're my favorite squid.
oh, thank you.
True. And there's a lot of competition, so
Yeah,
you should
no,
hold that in high regard.
There's a lot. There's like that one dude from Skylanders. You know him.
True, Squidward.
Yeah, Squidward.
Squidward.
So tell us, Brady, what's
Okay.
been going on in your little universe?
I really don't have all too interesting things happening. Whether that be because I live in New Jersey. I mean, that's always a factor, but it's just been, online college, work, just kind of shuffling those, working on any side projects I feel like at the time.
Well, good work.
Uh,
And what about you, Bonnie?
I was selected by my labor union to be a delegate to the Provincial Federation of Labor. I live in British Columbia, so it's the BC Federation of Labor. We're also allied with larger union bodies in North America, so we had little things from that. We also supported the postal workers for Canada Post, because they're on strike right now, national strike all over the country. And we had the premier of our province and the newly elected premier, thanks to some of the campaigning we did. And then we also had federal leader Jagmeet Singh from the Canadian Federal NDP visit. So it was really cool, and I hung out with all the other unions and got to get stayed in a nice hotel downtown, ate nice food, had nice little after parties, and made a lot of friends. And I also joined a activist group fighting transphobia in my region.
Peak.
So.
Damn. Bonnie's been busy.
Kicking ass.
For real.
If I had a soundboard, I'd play like lightning noises right now.
Lightning noises? Why lightning noises?
Also, I did two
Because lightning is
speeches.
fucking kick ass. Sorry.
I did. Oh no, I was gonna say. Thank you. I also got up to talk, despite my social anxiety. I got up to talk in front of like hundreds of people. First time I fumbled real hard, but everyone's like, "I respect you for going up." Second time I got the standing ovation. Technically, for both times I did, but the second time was like a real standing ovation. And you know why? Because I'm actually pretty good at public speaking, but I can't fucking speak when I can hear my own voice playing back at me. So the second time, I put earbuds in, and I spoke perfectly fine. Oh my fucking god, I cannot speak when I can hear myself. I hate it so much. Anyway.
Yeah, I've not done too much public speaking myself either. I think the last time I was in front of an audience was a fucking Christmas play that we did at church when I was like, I couldn't have been older than like 9 years old.
Yeah, that was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken to. I've mostly spoken to rooms of people, or like large rooms of people, but not like a fucking entire convention center.
Yeah. I think the biggest crowd I'll ever perform in front of is the...
With like
the
actual
Amigos.
politicians and shit there, with like actual press and media.
Oh no, yeah, I would be
God.
so nervous.
Anyway.
So you were a fucking champion.
Yeah. I fumbled the first one so bad though. I'm like traumatized over it. But anyway.
You made up for it though.
I did. I had an arc. I had a fucking arc that for that week, man. It was great.
Now, what Goose has been up to, at least recently, was not particularly fun. So for the last 3 days up until the recording of this episode, Goose has experienced some pretty crazy back pain. Probably the most back pain I've ever dealt with in my whole life. It's not quite as bad as when I got that full body sunburn when I went to Schlitterbahn and didn't wear sunscreen like a fucking idiot, but it's up there. It's definitely in my top 5 worst experiences.
Why does that park's name sound familiar?
I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty big park, so I wouldn't be surprised if you'd heard of it.
Maybe.
Yeah, it started on Saturday. That was the start of like my basically week off of work. Saturday we went to a little Christmas parade, which was fine and fun. My back sort of hurt that day, but it was like manageable. It was like I thought it was normal. Then it came around to Sunday. It had gotten really bad. I was sort of walking like an old man the whole day, kind of like hobbling around and like grabbing onto walls when I would feel like sharp pain. But I was like,
you don't do that normally?
No. I was like, okay, if it stays this bad, I'll probably go to the doctor tomorrow. What I did not anticipate was this morning, I couldn't even get out of bed because just moving in general hurt. I couldn't even get like a full breath because it would contort my back muscles when I do a deep breath and it would hurt. I almost went to urgent care. I thought it was that severe, but my brother helped me out. He managed to get me into the shower. I got some warm water on me, which helped with blood circulation in my back, and I felt a lot better after that. And I think me and him came to the realization that I just need a better chair for when I'm working on videos, because it was so bad. Like, my chair is not good, and I just kind of have to be more mindful of how active I'm being. I gotta stretch more. I gotta find a cheap ergonomic chair that is good for my back.
You should also.
You can't
try
just
and-
go to the doctor.
True, but my I don't know. My brother has experience with that. He was like, well, best case scenario, they'll be like, "Yep, that's a back, all right," and then they'll just give you slightly stronger pain medication. But I'm glad I went. Like, I'm glad we more or less found out the root issue, because I have swapped chairs since this morning.
What was your old chair?
More regularly. I don't even know what brand it is. It's like an office chair that my stepmom gave me for when we did our big move. It's missing a wheel, so it's sort of off balance, which might factor into it. But I haven't had issues with the chair until now, so I don't know. But like, I can't imagine what else it could have been, because on Saturday I was like, maybe I just don't move around too much, and that'll solve the problem. Because I thought like I'd pulled my back or something, but that definitely made it worse, because I was basically just sitting in that crappy chair all day, and then I was basically, what do I gotta do aside from leaving?
Buy yourself some yoga clothes.
What?
You gotta start doing yoga every day at 6 a.m. Get up, do yoga.
Yeah.
Stretch out them muscles. Out them muscles. You gotta start doing yoga. Yoga.
I was thinking just Ring Fit Adventure.
You know what you could do? You could buy my supplements.
Your supplements? Huh? Will they make my skin red?
My special yoga supplements.
Have you seen that clip of Alex Jones, like the before and after he was trying his male supplement, and the only thing that was different was that his skin was more red? I love that before and after image. I think I've mentioned that on the podcast before, but it's still funny.
I will say on that topic,
okay.
I do find it really funny, and I do hope this works out, that the Onion's trying to buy the InfoWheelers handle.
That's fucking hilarious.
Awesome.
That's
They
hilarious.
didn't try.
Dude,
they succeeded, and he's fighting it with a frivolous lawsuit.
Dude, I like how the actual like truth accuracy doesn't change under the Onion's ownership.
And I think it's really funny that when the Onion was trying to buy it, Alex Jones was like, "Donald Trump, Elon Musk, save me! Don't let him buy it."
Yeah, I
was calling out to his mama and dada.
I could talk a lot about right-wing misinformation and the multimedia sphere from alternative and old media, but yeah.
I love right-wing misinformation. Gotta be one of my favorite genders.
Honestly, true.
Let's see here. What has been happening? So, I know Bonnie's not super informed on the Game Awards, but Kara, Brady, the Game Awards are coming up.
I hate the Game Awards, and I've seen literally nothing.
Damn.
I don't even remember.
So, Brady, the Game Awards are coming up.
What was on the list?
I'm not clueless about it. I just need to look it up, and I can talk about it.
Gotcha. I just wanted to... it was mostly me... It was sort of half me bringing it up so we could shit on the Game Awards, and half of me asking what you guys think your own Game of the Year would be.
Wait, what? There's no way. There's no way. Is Genshin Impact a nominee? No? No way. Please, no. Please tell me.
No, there's six nominees for Game of the Year.
Genshin's not there, but it is on another one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Well, to be fair, Multiverses is too.
This is the wrong one. What? Can we get the official list?
The official list.
I got it right here.
Oh yeah, I'll read it out.
I'll post it in. It's Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, the Elden Ring DLC, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Refantatio.
Oh, man. I mean, I want Balatro to win because that'd be hilarious, but Black Myth Wukong is there.
What the hell is all this shit? Hold on.
Personally, I'd be fine with either Astrobot or Balatro, or Metaphor, honestly. All three of those would be fine.
It's a fucking like Persona fucking game, kinda.
Yeah, it's made by Atlas. So it's pretty similar.
This is ass
for
me.
My fucking feet are falling asleep on this hard, cold floor.
Not that any of these are bad, but my god, there's a lot of games.
No, I gotcha.
One of them's
You're just upset that Warband's not up here.
One of them's
one of them is a DLC.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I don't know why that's been so much.
Isn't one of those a fucking remake?
I think
Final Fantasy
is a
Rebirth.
remake,
Rebirth is not a remake. You guys don't ever speak ever again.
But Final Fantasy VII, is it not a retelling of the Final Fantasy VII story with the exact same story beats?
It's not at all.
It's just expanded.
It's not at all the same. It's literally a completely different story.
Oh, but
I
it's
mean, it
still
does
a-
have
it's
re
still-
in it,
it's-
like remake.
It's still like a sequel, no?
But I mean, I don't think it is a sequel because it's the same
It's
story.
not the same story.
It is
Okay,
though.
so what's
it's
the...
literally.
Okay, how is it not the same story? I don't know. For the record,
It-
I hate all of
It
these games.
literally it expands on everything, like literally all of the things that they couldn't.
That's not
do
a.
in the
That's
previous
not
story.
a. That's
And
not
it
a.
adds entire new plot. Like it's
Then
Well,
it.
it's not
Then
a-
it's
that
a-
doesn't
then
make it
it's
a-
a redux. Then it's a like that's like a redux. Then that's the same shit. It's just a very
There's
expanded.
Certainly not
remake.
a.
That's
Not
like
to
that's like say.
interrupt.
I mean, that means every George Lucas like re-release is a new movie too.
it is.
Not to interrupt,
Yeah.
but
I picked
apparently there's a
Palatra.
best adaptations section now.
Yeah. Oh no, that's been there for
That's been there?
a couple of years now. Yeah.
But also, being a remake doesn't stop you from being able to be game of the
Yeah.
year.
That I don't mind. It's just the
I
fact that
think
the
it's-
DLC
I think it's-
is eligible.
I think it's lame as shit to be a remake.
feel like-
and get Game of the
I mean,
Year.
it's kind of but then again, I probably would have replaced it with Persona 3 Reload, which is also a remake. So, I can sort of like I'll that one's okay. It's the DLC that I have an
I'll
issue
pick
with. 'Cause-
I'll pick Palastro because I love my boss, Goose.
Yay!
The
Wait, we don't
best.
have that lore. We don't have that lore established yet.
Oh yeah. Well,
But
it'll
just-
be a hint.
yeah, it'll be a hint.
The BAFTA
Um,
Game Awards. Okay.
the only thing I'm interested in seeing for the Game Awards, I can't watch it live because I have work that day, but I'm very excited to hear the orchestrations they do of the 6 nominees at the very end.
That'll be cool.
I'm super excited to hear how they do Astrobot and Bellatra because have you heard any of those orchestrations, Bonnie?
No, but I also
I'll-
don't know if Astrobot's even worth a whole PS5.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. Maybe like in 10 years when it's like
Maybe
$20.
it's worth a PS4.
They should put Astrobot on the PS4.
I would have
Um,
been.
They should put the
interested.
PS4 on the PS5.
True.
I would
They
have
should
been.
make a big stack of PS systems.
Are these just popular vote?
I
No.
don't think so.
Oh, okay.
They're
It's
just the
decided
ones that they.
through some shadowy syndicate. We literally have no
Yeah.
idea how it works.
The Dweeb Committee.
I mean,
It's
both-
really weird because
both
a lot of
are bad ways to do it. Not that there's a
Yeah.
good way to do it, but
I'm pretty sure there's a category called Player's Choice, which is just
yeah,
like
that's. I
exclusively
think
player
that's the
votes.
one that had Genshin on there.
Ah.
So that's why I was saying popular vote is not gonna fix it because it actually made it even shittier. But
Yeah. No, so to my knowledge,
That's-
it mostly comes down to like critics and a guild, I think.
That's
that
fair.
most of the votes value from. And you can kind of see that with a lot of the top year picks. I mean, I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's kind of true. A lot of these games tend to be what critics favor.
can I use my
Mhm.
art?
But then you
can
also get wild cards like Bellatra.
Can I use my art, philosophy, and history studies here? Can I bring that up?
I mean,
Because
yeah, sure, can you?
yeah, it's a modernist take on art to go off of critics, and it's more close to the idea of art being objective, or if not literally objective, because most people do not believe that anymore, which is like a completely modernist thing. In a postmodern view of art, we believe art is subjective, but we also value less stuff like the Oscars, which is to do with critics and to do with an elite. So an in-group of people who appreciate high art determining what is good rather than the general population. It's sort of like prescriptivist versus descriptivist language, which is another modernist, postmodernist split. So do words mean what dictionaries and Cambridge and all of that say, authorities, or does it mean descriptively what people say and how people use the words? Different languages operate differently. France has a national body to regulate and control their language. English doesn't. So English tends to be more descriptivist. So, which is why saying literally without actually using it has become really common enough to say where it's not incorrect to say literally without actually meaning literally, even if some people might find it annoying. And there isn't a proper stance on any of this. Because, like I said, if you go by purely popular votes, you have shit like Genshin. If you go purely by critics, you maybe get something that alienates a lot of people. Because for me, I don't connect with any of these games. But the whole point is you shouldn't hold one way of looking at it above the others, and you shouldn't care that much. It's fun to discuss, but I don't get too mad at the Oscars, even if I hate like most of the Oscar picks, kind of like this. So, but I also hate even the popular vote even more. So.
Oh yeah, no. I think honestly the best way would be if it was just a 50-50 split, because to my knowledge popular is just fully the people's vote. And when it comes to voting game of the year, I think it's 80-20.
I don't necessarily think there's really a way to do it 50-50 though.
I don't think
there's going to be bias in the judges anyway.
No, I mean, they don't mean literally 50-50. I don't know how you would even mathematically split that. You'd have to abstract.
So many reviewers.
You would have to abstract that with some kind of system. But
yeah.
I kind of see what you're getting at. For me, there is no best ways. There's just many ways, and then you can talk about the many ways, and that's interesting. And hopefully, everyone comes away with a little bit better understanding, a little bit more versatility, a little bit more open-mindedness, which is what we want out of art. A little more things learned.
I love art.
Me too.
Call this a cynical take. I just really don't care about the Game Awards because I just focus on the games I enjoyed throughout the year.
I mean,
that's a cynical take.
You're kind of just saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is more like you shouldn't take it as something not worth talking about, but you also shouldn't take it as like a gospel. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to see it, but also don't get too upset, and also like, understand that it's cool, and it's important because it forces people to talk about it.
Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna rage.
Sure. It's the same. If I was in a movie podcast with a bunch of movie people, I'd be saying all this, but about the Oscars. So.
Oh yeah, no.
I
blocked.
I sort of more brought it up because I was curious what you all think you would pick for Game of the Year. Because for me, Balattra's already up there.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, it doesn't have to be these, but it can just be whatever game you think is the best from this year.
I think the game, to my knowledge, that came out this year might be. Thank goodness.
I didn't.
Oh yeah, thank goodness you're here is so good.
Personally,
Oh yeah,
no, you guys go.
I was just agreeing with Brady because thank goodness you're here is probably in like my top 10 games of this year. Even if it was really short and it was pretty easily gameplay wise, I think the humor was very good. I love me some British humor. I love me some Wallace and Gromit.
Is that why
I
you
love
like
me some
me?
Thank goodness you're here. Yeah, I mean that's one of the aspects. There's too many things to like about you.
Aww.
Gay.
But enough
Hey,
homosexual rigmarole.
Hey, we're actually extremely hetero.
True.
Sure.
Unless I flip flop.
For real.
Unless someone pours water on me. I'm like
I'd probably
Grandma.
give it to Street Fighter 6, which is funny because I
Street
haven't
Fighter
touched
6 came out last year.
I'm allowed to cheat.
So
What?
So the way I do it is I don't actually believe you can say something's game of the year. You need to categorize. So you need to categorize and force yourself to versatility because it's going to be really boring because everyone's just going to say, oh, the best thing of like what I like is my favorite. So I like first-person shooters. I like horror. I like sci-fi. I like a lot of dark shit. So I would be like, oh my god, Stalker 2. But like, that's really dumb when people are not into that or don't connect with that shit as much. And I think it should be about sharing and kind of having people explore. It's almost, to me, it's not even about what you pick. It's about what other people pick and what you're showing your thing. It's like a potluck. You bring your own shit and you try new stuff. So that's how I like to look at it. That's why I think categorizing is the best way to do, which is why I think the Steam Awards are better. The Steam Awards, I tend to like the games more, and there tends to be more. There's more categories there, and that's also purely democratic, I think. So yeah.
What's the porn game of the year?
Yeah, like
What?
yeah, like you can do that. You can have like a porn game. You can have like an erotic game. Because
Which game gives you the biggest boner?
Because porn games can be smart. There's a lot of shit to talk about with, with fucking identity politics and gender and sex and just anything related to that. It's very. You can have smart, good porn games, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I would do categories, but I actually can't give something. I can't even say Stalker 2. That's just the only game I know that I bought this year, technically 2 years ago, but Russia invaded Ukraine, so it delayed the game because they wanted to do Stalker in real life. They literally couldn't wait to shoot people around the power plant, the actual power plant. But
Oh my god.
yeah. So, but I don't play too many games, and a lot of the games I play are older, so I actually can't even name a single game I actually bought and played 2024.
Best family game: Astrobot,
It's a,
Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Legend of Zelda Echo of Wisdom, and The Plucky Spire.
Shit.
yeah, the best family game category is literally just we have to give the Nintendo games a category.
Dude,
There's
I think,
3 Nintendo games, yeah.
I think Confident Annie and Lele might be the only game I bought. Oh shit, no.
Did that come out this year?
That was like
I'll say
2
right
or
now,
1 year ago.
That's
I
my
think.
game of the year. You're welcome.
All right.
Well, you guys are all wrong because the real game of the year is Granny Escape Together.
You're getting out. You're
Yeah,
leaving the podcast. You're done.
It was October. It was October 2023, but
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so was.
I'm surprised.
yeah.
I'm surprised that new Indiana Jones game didn't get nominated. at all.
that new
I figured
that
it
new
would.
game looks cool as shit. That new Indiana Jones ones. I would pick that if it was
Yeah,
here.
it looks pretty cool.
I haven't played it, but it looks really cool.
Mhm.
It's by Machine Games,
It-
who had like really, really good writing for the new Wolfenstein games. So I assume that they're also really good at
Mhm.
writing that here.
Maybe
Yeah,
Sparking
it
Zero
came out-
my game of the year.
It came
I
out
really don't know.
yesterday, as of the recording of this.
Yeah, it's also so late.
Yeah, that's true.
I assume the
I
best
think-
time
Yeah,
to
I wish
do
that I
that-
wish they did the Game Awards.
It should be
I
in
wish they did the Game
January.
Awards like the year after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was about to say the same thing.
I don't know. I'm not really. I've thought about it a lot. I'm not really like a gamer. I just look at video games as a way to explore like fandom in general.
I mean, you can still have a favorite game, even if you're
I
not
don't.
a gamer.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. Like, even though my favorite game this year is probably, thank goodness you're here, I don't know if it really would deserve Game of the Year.
You're telling me the Undertale bunny wearing Zelda Letterman jacket with the Homestuck on the alt account is into fandoms? No way.
I have a undying interest in crossovers.
Yeah, me too.
And that's why your favorite game is
You
Smash
would
Bros.
we should talk
Nope.
we should talk more because apparently I'm really good at writing like funny crossover shit.
Wowza.
Wowza.
I
Well,
already-
I know where
I'll
I
have to-
lie in this argument, and it's Balatro.
I'll have to tell
So
everybody
I'm a-
about UH sometime.
If Balatro wins, you will not hear me shut up about
Balatro
it.
should
'Cause-
Balatro should win.
It would be so fucking funny that if I had the chance, that's what I would vote for. But-
Officially, I don't care. I haven't played anything, so I don't think I have an actual opinion on these games. I know we were just talking about our games, but for these games, I just anything that isn't the fucking like Redux and anything that isn't the fucking DLC.
DLC.
Didn't Elden Ring already win like Game of the like?
It won in 2022. Yeah.
And also,
I
I don't
the
think
idea.
you can have a category for DLC too. By the way, like,
True.
that's fine.
I don't know why they didn't do that.
I think the idea
A
is
lot
that
of-
it's like such a big expansion that it's a whole new game, but also it's not. It's the
The
same
thing
game,
is,
guys.
you can't play the DLC without playing Elden Ring as well. Like you have to play through all of Elden Ring to unlock the access to that DLC.
Yeah, I feel like
So,
that's
like,
just
it
like
does- I
an
don't-
intentional poisoning of the well.
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, a lot of people are making jokes about it on Twitter. It's like, oh, Jeff Keighley doesn't want fucking the anime RPG to win, so he had to include the Elden Ring
Me neither.
DLC.
I was gonna say, like, I love Repentance. I think it genuinely made The Bind of Isaac a lot more fun to play. It did not deserve to ever be put on like the Game Awards since it was a DLC that required like 2 other DLCs.
Wait, was it? Was it nominated for Game of the Year?
It wasn't, but I remember some people in some intergroups are like,
For Fallout 4, the Far Harbor DLC is better than anything Bethesda's made since Morrowind, and it's better than the base game. So that's something.
Oh.
But I would still say it has to win in a DLC category. I don't think it grandfathers like Fallout 4's like asinine shit into like a quality
Mhm.
category.
I'm surprised they didn't put Atlas anywhere on here to vote for.
Yeah.
They should have best. They
I'm
should have best
not.
Gooner slop.
Best Gooner slop. Finally, it's not slop.
Finally, a category
It's
for
not slop,
me.
It's a good game.
The goon category.
The Goon of the Year.
I do have to play Anton Blast, but if
You gotta play Anton
yeah, if
Blast.
everything in it is like to Pizza Tower quality, I would say that's probably my game of the year.
I
like I
feel
would've
it's I think it's in terms of graphical fidelity, it's higher quality than Pizza Tower.
I think it's also, from what I've heard, I think I like the music. I think the music's
It's-
a
Looks
little
the
better
music
than
is really
Pizza
good.
Tower.
Rebel Taxis are style. This shit looks like Loki
It's hard-
IRL. What the fuck?
It's hard to mess up a combination of Wario Land and Crash Bandicoot.
It's peak.
It's really fun. I gotta play more. I just gotta get
That
used to
sentence
the
is
controls.
why I think you're so fucking cute. Oh my god, I want to kiss you.
I can't understand anyone treating Goose like
Bonnie, not in front of all 7,000 people. I
that.
blush.
7,000. Really?
Yeah, like 7,100 something.
Also, don't just roast Goose like that. Fuck you. What do you mean?
I'm allowed.
What do you mean?
Hey, Bonnie is the stronghold of kindness in contrast to all of my friends who are evil and nasty to me.
Goose,
Where
if
do
you were
I
here,
fall?
I would flip your hat down over your eyes.
Nah.
What the
If
fuck?
you don't understand why the thing they just said about Crash Bandicoot Wario Land isn't cute, then yeah, I definitely I see the vision.
Where do I fall? I'm like the neutral friend.
You're fucking based.
The neutral. You're awesome, Brady.
You're fucking based. I still remember your world building thing. I was like, oh, someone's making art and putting it out there. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Speaking
For
of
real.
projects I've been working on, I told give me a second, I need water.
The drinker. Yeah, everybody take a drink right now,
Okay.
including the viewers.
I got my ginger ale and my sushi.
I
Oh my
told
yummy.
Kara this already, but I did have a crossover story that I was working
Yeah.
on. Kara
It was
seems to
fucking
like
cool.
it.
The,
Yeah.
It was really fun to listen and like hear you just rant about for
I wanna.
like, extended periods of time. I love that shit
I
so
wanna-
much.
Oh,
When people get passionate and
I'm
rant,
intrigued.
It makes me so energetic and like happy.
If you all genuinely want to hear it sometime,
I mean,
let me
yeah.
know.
Would you mind? Like we can. I'd be down to hear a like
Yeah,
a,
I was-
pro-
I
like a
can give a-
longer version later. But I would love to hear like that.
I want to hear it too. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I feel a little bad because I also have like fucking what I think are good crossover stories, but no, you guys wouldn't know. People here wouldn't know what they are. So.
What are they based on?
Well, one of them I had a bunch of Venture Brothers characters on the bridge of the fucking Enterprise, and like that's such a specific
cool.
that's such a specific crossover. I also had because I can do decent impressions of a lot of Venture Brothers characters. I use Venture Brothers a lot, so I also think it's like really underrated, really good show, and has like the largest cast with the most development on average per character per amount of characters in the show that I've seen. So it's really fun to use them in anything. You can have them in fucking Ruby. You can have them in whatever. I also do a lot of like sci-fi kind of ones where different sci-fi universes interact and how their technology would interact. Getting into the details and nuances of how this magic could affect this magic or this thing could see that.
Yes.
Common thing that I think people would understand is stuff that's rooted in like larger Japanese mythology with like Shinto spirits and ki and like Eastern mysticism kind of shit. And it's the same reason like Death Battle will justify certain characters being able to see the stands in JoJo of other
Yes.
characters.
Yeah. You're speaking my fucking language right now, literally. This is like what I put my entire life into. This is my everything.
Kara's doing the thing that Thumper does in Bambi, where he slams his
Killing
leg
you-
down really
killing you with
fast.
And excited bunny is cute.
True.
But anyway,
That's Cookie
you
just
can
said.
go.
Wow.
You can take us away, Squiddy.
True. Whisk us away to the land of fantasy, Brady.
Yeah, all right. So to keep it quick, so basically the general concept is there's these two deity.
Deities.
Oh my god.
I'm just going to like quit speaking.
Not like two words in.
No, I genuinely can't figure out how to pronounce this word right now.
Deities?
This is like a bad thing that. What was that?
The deities?
Deity, yeah.
Yeah, deities.
If you're saying
Yeah, so
plural,
there's-
it's deities.
Yeah,
Oh.
deities. So yeah, there's two you know what I'm saying.
Gods.
There's two king deities.
Yeah, there's two deities.
I got it. Okay.
And basically what happens is these two forces, they are in this eternal game where they go against each other. And the rules are they pick 5 different characters from any existent universe and they draft them up into a team. There's certain conditionals to like how you build your team. The general rule for these two is you need a brains, a brawn, a beauty, a mercis, a power play, and a wild card.
Archetypes.
5v5 like Overwatch.
So you have those two, but then there's a third force at play who's trying to stop them from fighting because the 3 forces were once a team who worked together to keep away a bigger power that wanted to destroy all of the universe itself. But then there's a petty squabble between 2 of them, so that's why they're in this eternal game that they play. So this third one's trying to get them both to stop by causing the game to be dismantled. And they also have to pick a team of their own.
So I'm getting Olympian gods using archetypes for their bonds.
Pretty much.
Oh, I need to play that game. I was talking to you about it, Goose. Also, sorry to the audience. It's the Yik game.
I sent a gif of Alex Yeek going "Gah."
I will admit, the quick version isn't as interesting because I think the interest lies in the characters who are picked, but
No, I think it's cool.
I don't want to
I
eat.
think it could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Um,
love to hear.
It's
the
a really
extended
cool
version.
concept, and I immediately upon hearing it, I wanted to do something like it. I thought it was really fun.
I could just throw in random like little crossover things I had. I have I do a lot of stuff. With me, what I like to do with my crossovers, I like to take things that are extremely different from each other. So there's very few chance. There's a very slim chance that someone would know both media, and that's what I value the most about the crossovers is that it encourages versatility, encourages open-mindedness, it encourages like exploring new things. So a lot of the stuff I mix together is stuff that's super disparate, but my favorite thing is like Star Trek, so I put a lot of I draw sometimes like funny characters in like in the outfits, and especially when it comes to Eastern and Western media, often those two worlds don't collide, but I like to make them collide. A lot of my favorite media like RWBY makes them collide, makes Eastern and Western tropes collide. I do that with sci-fi with like mecha and like more traditional
Fuck yeah.
traditional military sci-fi. I like having both. My world building project is very much like that, but everything's original, obviously. But there's the whole point is it's supposed to blend aesthetically as it blends a bunch of different genres and points out that they're really not as different as you might think. So I have aliens that are like really fantasy and really magical in how they interact, but I also have things that look like our modern actual military, but like sci-fi interacting with them. So I have like elves and shit and like tactical gear with like sci-fi weapons that look kind of believable in our world. I have mechs supporting capital ships that you would see in like in Star Wars. I have all sorts of crazy shit. I even have stuff that's more like based in superheroes. I have all of these different tropes kind of harmonized together in my world building, which is one thing I do. And speaking specifically to crossovers, something I really like is I like to, especially when it comes to like battle boarding and shit. I like to use a lot of. I like to imagine like street level characters and make art for street level characters. I really love cyberpunk characters interacting.
Ooh.
These aren't both cyberpunk things, but I fucking love any art that's like RoboCop and like Atom Smasher, like him trying to bring him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and less in terms of just like, oh, who would win in a battle. Like I can talk about that and that can start the conversation, but I preferred the narrative of it. So I prefer like writing like how those characters would interact, which is why I really like the death battle with fucking Superman and Goku, the third one, because they're actually interacting more. Because I'm not really interested in who would win, because Stan Lee is right. They're fictional characters. The writer kind of picks who wins, but it's just for fun, and that's a way to have fun with it, other than just calculating and doing your scans and doing like, oh my god, this guy's got 10 billion kilotons of TNT. You can do that, but then you can have even more fun. And another one I had was I like Atom Smasher a lot recently, so I love him with Frank Corrigan, two of the most badass like fucking cybernetic monstrosity characters, and it's an interesting trope. And sorry, I've been talking so long. I'll stop now.
I really liked that Superman versus Goku animation. The way they like played around actually with the idea of the characters and like this isn't something you see super often from Dragon Ball, but definitely from Superman and in like the mainline comics, where them fighting like broke reality, and you actually get to see all of this like archetypal versions of them fighting, and just it's such a fun concept.
Yeah.
They really wanted to pay respect to as much of a character's like the actual idea of a character for the honestly, in my opinion, for the one of the first times that Death Battle ever actually tried on doing that. I don't think they do an especially good job of portraying the characters the way they're actually supposed to feel.
Yeah, because they did what I said, where the battle is a start, and that's mainly what they're concerned with. They're just trying to organically find the battle, like But they actually talked about the story and the semiotic, the actual cultural meaning of those characters, and why Goku versus Superman is more than just comic scan versus manga scan. It's actually East versus West. It's about what people value culturally. It's about being open-minded towards other cultures. It's finding similar tropes across cultures and appreciating how they are the same and how they're different at the same time. And that's why that was so good. They talked about all that shit right at the end of that battle.
Yeah, it was really cool. I like my favorite thing to do, because I've been part of the Versus community since I was a little tiny idiot child.
Me too.
And I haven't really stayed on the power scaling side of things as much. I do still like power scaling, and I can talk about like the way that like feats scale and stuff, but most of what I have really been getting into is like the like narrative connections between characters and why that makes fights interesting.
Exactly.
So I have
that's what makes what makes a fight interesting in an actual story too. So it's just doing that with I mean you're exact. I think we're exactly on the same page on that. So that's cool. It's
fun. It's so fun. There's a new wiki for it. I'm gonna plug this really quick because I'm a mod now.
You're a mod?
a very good friend of mine made a wiki called Versus Connections Wiki, and everyone should look it up and maybe make pages because it's really cool.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna put myself on that wiki.
I'll check it out. I like to look at those Versus wikis. There's like 10 quadrillion of them though.
This one's just specifically for like narrative
connections between
characters.
That's better. No, yours is the best.
It makes it really interesting.
That's what's more fun. That's what I was saying, yeah.
Because then there's a bunch of drama with like power scaling wikis that have like tiering systems and stuff. Because it's always about which tiering system is best and which tiering system should be used for every conversation, etc. That's not fun anymore for me.
I agree.
I've gotten to the point where most of the people I have ever talked to about those kinds of things got kind of annoying. I hate that word. I hate that word so much, but
no, I know what you mean.
It gets a little irritating.
I know what you mean. You know what it is the reason it's annoying and the reason why people repost the Stan Lee video where he's like, The character who wins is the one I want to win. Enough of this boneheaded question. And in a way, he's right, because it's a media literacy thing. It's fun to talk about like power scaling. It's fun to use that as a start, but you don't base the quality of the work on it, and that's not why works are meaningful or impactful at all. It's the writing, it's the narrative, it's the character interactions, and that's what's the more fun thing to do with crossovers, which is why I think your wiki is actually fucking peak and goated, because I'm like, what's the difference between that and every other versus battle wiki? And you're like, oh, it's more about the narrative. And I'm like, yeah, that's way more interesting. It's the same reason on the Who Would Win Reddit, which is mainly where I interact with this stuff. On the Who Would Win Reddit, I'm way more interested in the posts that are writing prompts and the posts that are the tag is called like how the hell, so you aren't trying to like make it like who would 100% win and just calculate it, like it's reducing it to math when the math isn't even real because it's fiction. And then it's more about what you're saying, so that's really cool. Versus Connections wiki, yeah, that's good.
It's super fucking cool. I fuck so hard with the like discussions of like how mechanically crossovers would work. Just like, I have this like really long running role play that I'm about to get back into. It's a world build that I started when I was in elementary school and really crafted out when I was in middle school, and has ever since like followed me through my entire life. It is one of the most important things to me I have ever done. It's called Ultra Heroes, shortened to UH. It is just like a massive crossover, sci-fi, fantasy, everything, literally everything of every anime, manga, manhwa.
Is it like the actual
manhwa.
characters?
It uses actual characters, but it's more about the world build and how those universes interact. Because like the whole backstory is that there was this event that didn't merge the universes, but it merged the concepts from them. So I have this entire thing about like how souls work, and I really went in depth on writing this. I'll have to show you guys some of the screenshots from the server. But it's
I love looking at other people's worlds. I talked about this with fucking Brady a long time ago, but I've been a world building consultant for a lot of like people's world buildings projects, and I obviously have my own one. So I'd love to take a look at your thing. I can even like talk to you just like in the server about that if you want, because I am all into that. Like people just I love seeing people make worlds. That's one of the biggest, that's like my biggest passion. So
it won't be especially easy to understand, but I think I'm going to use a program I have to download the notes channel and send that, because I went in on some like completely random bullshit that honestly doesn't matter, but because at the time when I made this I was really into power scaling, I like canonized some terms relating to that on how to like equate a character to a certain power scaling tier, and then like I wrote,
can actually use probably some of my lingo I avoid with other people around you then.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my god.
But not on the podcast, that'll get us canceled.
And to be clear, when you mentioned the idea of like Venture Bros characters in Star Trek earlier, I'm not super into Venture Bros. I haven't watched a lot of it. I watched like maybe the first 3 episodes, and then I've seen a bunch of clips, but I immediately thought that sounded really funny and cool.
Yeah.
I just get so jazzed about crossovers.
Yeah, you gotta...
The jazzer.
I wish I sometimes I've done it. I wish I like recorded it or someone recorded it, but I've been in groups where people will ask me like, hey Bonnie, how would Professor X's school like taken like this character or whatever the fuck, and I'll like come up with a whole story, and I'll be talking for like fucking enough to like make a whole like mini comic crossover series about it. And also like how like the Ghostbusters would like deal with other paranormal things, like I don't know, Just pick any supernatural, spiritual thing, or like how would like a platoon of NCR Rangers fare in like the zone and like Stalker and all of that kind of shit? How would
Oh my god, that's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. So, oh, we could probably. It's good that you got us both here at the same time, Goose.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I've been wanting to do this ever since I listened to the episode that you were on.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Also, Brady would like to share something.
Yeah.
Brady's just a quiet little goober that don't know how to speak.
I'm sorry.
It's
Sorry.
okay. I just developed
Okay.
some things over
Now,
the course of
I mean, your thing was
Brady,
the
you
prompt.
what?
Brady, you gotta add something onto your soundboard that's like a little ping that's like, I have something to say, but like basically like the Discord ping, but a little
I'm
different.
not one to like
I have
interrupting people.
I have some questions about your world, or the thing you mentioned, because you mentioned how it's using archetypes.
Mhm.
I was interested, like what would be examples that come to mind, and maybe if, maybe what I thought of something. What if also like there could be scenarios where they had to deal with a specific thing, or they had to get to a specific dungeon, or they had to perform a specific task, or they had to like unite the tribes of their kingdom, or unify the systems into the Federation, or whatever the fuck like task they had to do, defeat this villain, take down this Arasaka from fucking Cyberpunk, I don't know, but like or deliver the ring, the one ring, or whatever the fuck. You could have those scenarios, and then you can kind of pick what would be a good thing of those archetypes. Like, what's a good party to do that with? So
Yeah.
and
I will say there's a lot of whatchamacallit. There's a lot of since it's a game, there are like tasks and objectives that do get like thrown on as a game, because one of the things with the game is, since both sides have the ability to add rules, they just constantly keep on throwing rules to
I already
extend
know
the
what
game,
jump
so
chain is. Sorry.
Peak.
But you were asking for some like examples of the archetypes, or like who's in the archetypes.
Oh yeah, just if you've done any of that. Because for me, I was struggling to come up with examples for for some of the stuff I was saying, because it's all like spontaneous. So some of the stuff I was saying sounded kind of like a little silly, but.
So this kind of ties into something I want to say, because you mentioned having different picks of characters who are like vastly different in a sense, and that was kind of my goal here. I want the whole cast of crossover characters to be, some of them are like, you got similar vibes, and then other ones are just like the completely other side of the sphere. So for example, some of the characters who show up, for one of the group's brawn picks is Bane from Batman.
Hell yeah.
One of the power play picks is Mahito.
From what?
Then the other power play pick is Omni-Man. Those are some pretty
I love
common
Omni-Man.
those are some pretty common crossover fight picks, I would say.
I love
But then you have like
Omni-Man's
Fall.
mustache.
Me too.
Omni-Man is awesome.
I love
his
Omni-Man's
ass.
muscles.
But then you
There's a whole meme about it. It's so good.
But then you get some really fun picks, like one of the team's brains is Fawful, and one of the team's beauties is Metaton. So there's a good variety of characters, I would say, here.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
And another thing that I had terms for was I forgot who mentioned it now, but when like debating, or not really debating, but talking about like a versus situation with two characters, I really do love the writing, and if it's an animation, the animation itself too. If it's interesting to watch, I would say. Because I've had a question or a prompt, I guess. I've asked people who would be an interesting matchup for like the Terraria mechs.
Terraria.
Which you're the mechs from Terraria, there are three bosses you have to fight in hard mode to progress.
SpongeBob.
That's
SpongeBob.
That's so hard for me to choose. I honestly, I want to say like something that would be similar to the Terraria player character.
There are almost
Yeah,
no
okay.
mechs I
remember
don't
that.
know,
I remember that being mentioned.
but
at some point.
Terraria mechs are one of the mechs I don't know.
It's
Minecraft Steve.
It's the mechanical bosses. It's Skeletron, Destroyer of Worlds,
Twins.
the twins.
Yeah. I love this concept recently because I started thinking about like the mechs on a little bit more of a series scale. Like I've been considering the amount of force required to keep like Skeletron Prime or the Destroyer moving, considering the amount
That's
of material.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
What I think
Someone
is...
mentioned V1. Oh,
no.
sorry.
No, you can...
I was just gonna say a friend mentioned like, oh, would V1 be a fun one? And I was like, well, V1 would kind of be a sweep on V1's part, but I will say if someone was to animate that fight, that would be a really fun animation. I think
That'd be so cool.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say what I think's interesting with mechs is that I like to use them because I'm really big on military sci-fi, but mechs are like, I love mechs. Like I don't want people to think I hate mechs, but mechs are like a horrible design for a vehicle, for a war vehicle. So what I think is what a lot of universes do is mechs are cool, so they have mechs, and that's fine. And I like one of my favorite mecha universes is Iron Harvest, and I love the mechs in there. But a lot of universes they only have either don't have many mechs, or mechs are the only armored fighting vehicle in the universe, and it's all about mechs, and mechs are just the be all end all. Like in Gundam, love Gundam, but a lot of the time like other ships don't really get to do anything in space, and on the ground you never get to see any of the other vehicles do anything, which is why part of why I like Warhammer a lot, because Warhammer wants to sell all their overpriced shit to people like me, so they have like everything. So they got tanks, they got hover tanks, they got walkers, they have Japanese style mechs, they have Western style mechs. So in my universe, I'm proud of what I do with mechs, because I think about, okay, what would mechs actually be useful for in a military context? How would they fit into a doctrine, an actual military doctrine? Because the whole point of a doctrine is you are to achieve a certain goal, and you might want to have different kinds of tools to complete that specific goal. So the Kriegsmarine in World War II was a navy. The Royal Navy was a navy, but they had completely different compositions, theories, strategies, equipment, not just because they were different designers, but because they were designing for different purposes. That's probably the most famous, common example. But yeah, I was doing that. In my world, I do that extensively with mechs. Is rather than make them the be-all, end-all, I give them their own special role, and I make it about combined arms, which fits into the narrative themes of my world about working together and strength and diversity and all of that. So you have like, because you don't really see that in anything. There's almost nothing. I search extensively for it. So yeah, I'm super big on armored fighting vehicles in fiction. That's one of my biggest things, and that's one of the things I'm like. In Ruby, by the way, Kara, because I know you know Ruby. I was in a Ruby world building project, and what they had me do was I designed a bunch of ways to use Ruby's dust, to use the elements and the magic systems in Ruby to enhance armored fighting vehicles, because Ruby has armored fighting vehicles to fight Grimm, but they're not shown very much. They're not given much of a showcase. So what I did was I expanded the conventional military of that Ruby world building project I did. So the soldier, it wasn't just the huntsman doing everything. They were supported by the soldiers, much like the clones support the Jedi in Star Wars. So that's how that's how I had that done. I made dust versions of different kinds of munitions that real tanks, real armored fighting vehicles use. So instead of like armor piercing, fin discarding like Sabots, I had it with the different kinds of dust. Like how would instead of a chemical propellant for this tank shell, how would a dust propellant work? So I had that extensively, and I came up with pretty neat names and made a bunch of mechs and all that. I'm pretty proud of the names I came up with, but I don't want to get too
That's
into
so
it.
fucking cool. My wife is really really into like Gundam and stuff, and so for my crossover setting that I mentioned earlier, UH, the that we've been talking about doing like a side thing where we go through like a historical event essentially that we would be establishing where the fucking we called it Ultra Robot Wars, where we would be touching on this idea of like the organization that like basically runs the multiverse would be forming a very early version of their military and talking about how different like energies and machinery and stuff in different fiction would be put into like pretty standard anime mech technology was one of my favorite parts of working on that. We talked about like I think the literal exact term I used was Gundava, where it's like biotech that is made using Gundam so that the user doesn't like the pilot doesn't experience any of the like fucking drawbacks. It's the machine itself because it's part biological. Which is just a fucking horrifying concept that I think fits really well into a mech anime. It's fun. I had so much fun with that shit. And then
Huzzah!
like pretty much like a lot of stuff just talking about how like specifically we would be powering them and things like that. It was fun.
Well met. The podcast is now officially majority world building /
Good.
fan fiction writing stuff.
I'll just want to say one more thing to end regarding, because you mentioned in the chat Jump Chain. I actually explained Jump Chain to Goose because I was talking about why I'm playing. I'm like addicted to one of the longest games I've been playing, and maybe you would like it too, just because you like jump chains. Is Mountain Blade, Warband. And what I like about that is it's got like really extensive like mechanics, like economic simulation, military simulation. Every troop is accounted for. There's a lot of like just general mechanics. But what is great about it is it's so easy to mod. So what people have done is they've taken the mechanics and they've made tons of original and adaptations of tons of different worlds. And you have like, you know, Warhammer, fucking Star Wars, fucking Lord of the Rings, fucking Game of Thrones. You have like a lot of actual historical settings too. And then you have what I like are a bunch of people's original fantasy worlds, original post-apocalyptic worlds. And it's not entirely, it's kind of related to Jump Chain in that you can actually take the same character and take your same kind of skills and transfer it over into those other worlds. So you're just kind of going through these worlds. And jump chaining, I was explaining that's like, to me, that would be like the ideal afterlife, is to like jump chain through a bunch of different universes and have a kind of interdimensional, almost like a TARDIS or whatever, something cooler than a TARDIS, and then fucking store all my shit. And it's like, yes, that's my fucking that's my crucible from when I was like the Doomslayer. Oh yeah, that's my that's my fucking my lightsaber from when I was a Jedi Master. You know what I mean? Oh, and that's my magic wand from when I fought with Star in Star versus of Evil or whatever. You know.
Fuck man.
I love
it.
Yeah, I love when it gets super. I love when it gets super. That's why I like with Star Trek. I think the bridge is a really good format, because the whole point of a Star Trek bridge is it's a bunch of people using their diversity as their strength and all having different roles. So I like to think, okay, I'm the captain of my bridge, and we have to solve a Star Trek problem. We have to fix some situation. So we're in the orbit over a planet, and it's like, okay, who do I want to be my science officer? Who do I want to be my communications officer? Who do I want to be my security officer? Who do I want to be my chief engineer? And then so that's why a lot of my stuff has like Star Trek as the template. And yeah, that's my final thoughts for the world building stuff. Unless Brady or you wanted to say something, and obviously Kara can reply.
This is definitely one of the. That's why I've been so quiet all this time, because I don't have particularly too much. Because a lot of my like power scaling and like fan fiction stuff is just kind of like banging action figures together in my head.
Good.
The best I can do is like I think of like I'm listening to a song and I'm like, now how would two characters fight each other to this music? That's a lot of the music I listen to is just kind of like animatic fuel for animations that I will never make.
Ideas in my head for AMV, kind of like AMVs, but with like better music, because people who make AMVs tend to not have very good music taste.
Honestly, I would love to talk more about my thing, but that there's time after this podcast to do that. I don't want to alienate Goose too much.
Yeah, I haven't been sure what to say in response. Mostly because I didn't want to break your guys' flow, because you guys had like the Avatar thing where you guys were like linked into each other's brains for a moment. But yeah, it's always fun to listen to. People talking about their interests is always very fun.
I have a feeling you're right, Kara.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I remember when we were gonna initially did this, you said you had some stuff to talk about, Kara?
Did I?
You said you
I
had some
remember there was
ideas.
something you brought up that you thought would be a good topic for everybody to
Oh, yeah.
to reach on.
Foundational media, which we kind of touched on a little bit, I think. And I was going to do a better segue at some point, but it kind of got lost in the talking about my favorite things ever. So, foundational media, essentially the idea that you as a person wouldn't be you without without certain things, like the certain things that you've watched or read or enjoyed. What are some of those for you guys, and what kinds of ways did they affect you?
Oh fuck! I'm gonna run the time.
I'm just really interested in hearing.
That's a great question. I'm gonna run the time out though.
Oh no, yeah.
Everyone else
I mean, we don't really have a time limit. Only issue is I think I got a phone call from work. I gotta answer this real quick.
Oh,
All right.
okay. Gooseless
Shouldn't be too
episode. Let's
long.
go.
Oh my god.
Somebody start talking.
I will let other people go first.
Ready?
Okay. I wasn't ready to talk about.
Oh,
Because I still got to decide. So it's
Um,
like things that really form who I am today, right?
it's just media that's affected you greatly. Yeah.
See, like the honest answer is BoJack Horseman, but
That's a
that's a
Fuck, man, that's a really good answer.
That's
That's,
a-
so much better than anything I could ever say.
that's a funny and good answer.
it is. I really did enjoy watching BoJack Horseman.
I don't know who tried to call me, but
I watched it when I want to say I was
Goose did not fucking
13.
mute.
Yeah, 13 or 14 is when I watched it, because I was at that age. I was starting to like wonder, like, okay,
hello.
what's more like the adult media out there that's not like Family Guy or Simpsons, like something that's a little more mature in its story. And when I did that, I saw BoJack Horseman was on the list. I'm like, oh, I'll check this out, and I'm glad I did. I am glad I did.
That's
When it comes to, oh, sorry.
sorry. That's a really good answer. I really respect that show.
Yeah. This is a hot take maybe, but what I've gathered from rewatching the show and whatnot, it's really hard to like BoJack.
That's intentional. That's 100%
I think, yeah.
on purpose.
No problem.
Like, obviously, in the show you want him to do better and you want him
Okay.
to not be a
Sorry,
shitty
back.
person, but I do appreciate how the show like gives you this character who kind of like makes you think about the media you're consuming, because you do, like I said, you do feel a little sympathetic for him and you do want him to get better, but he's just genuinely a shitty person. And
Which one are we talking about?
Formative media, and my pick was BoJack Horseman.
Gotcha. My boss called me and tried to get me to work tomorrow at 8. Even though I just called them this morning being like, hey, I can't do Tuesdays because I have art classes. But, whatever. Yeah, I haven't seen all of BoJack Horseman. What I have seen is pretty intriguing.
I really
Yeah.
need to finish that show.
Me too.
This is... Oh,
No,
sorry.
no. I am the most
Alright.
cut offable person ever. Please.
I was gonna say, in regards to finishing the show, this is the most fucking generic, bread and water take ever. But I really do think the show should have ended on its second to last episode. Not that the last episode's bad. I just think the second to last was the better finish.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
I need to watch BoJack.
It's really, really good. It touches on some things that we definitely can't talk about on the podcast, but it's,
Oh yeah,
I've
it
seen,
is-
it's so fucking good.
I've seen analysis videos about it, but I haven't seen it fully. So I'm just I've seen like people talk about it, but which is true for most
Like I said,
media.
Definitely
I-
watch it.
I am glad I watched the show, because I think it's definitely not really like an important life lesson, but it's definitely one of the shows that taught me that not every single like protagonist or character you follow is a character you will like. Like I said, you do want BoJack to change for the better. Unfortunately, he really doesn't, and I that's not even like a spoiler thing. That is just something you kind of have to come into the show accepting.
That's like the point of the show. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool the way they did it.
But even then, if you do want characters who like get better endings and whatnot, there are side characters who are really fun to follow.
Oh yeah.
I this is 100% probably a sexism thing, but I do not understand why people hate Diane.
A lot of characters that are like that it is like sexism. Yeah. I think of Skylar from Breaking Bad when I think of people like unreasonably hating a character for being a fucking woman.
I think of the
Absolutely.
entire cast of Ruby.
True. The term actually, I think I explained it on another episode. How Mary Sue came from Star Trek, and how Star Trek was like the first like fandom, the first like geek anything, and how we coined like so many terms like that people use for fandom shit, or it started like majorly in Star Trek. So Star Trek is like the Star Trek's the OG gangster for fandoms.
I have a question for you about Star Trek. Sorry, this is off topic, but I started with and I'm still going through it, so I haven't actually even finished it. But I started with Deep Space Nine. Do you think that was a bad idea?
No, it's the best one.
That's exactly what I've heard so many times now, and thank fucking God, because fuck, it's so
Deep
good.
Space Nine is amazing. Wow, you're a smart cookie if you're fucking watching that one and liking it. A lot of the time, that one goes over a lot of people's heads. That has the best geopolitical world building I've ever seen in like a major
Oh
piece of art.
God.
It's like that and New
Fucking
Vegas.
real.
Those are the two. That and New Vegas and Disco Elysium are for me like maybe like the most well written
Holy
things
shit.
ever. So yeah.
Oh man. Goose, do you want to talk about something foundational to you?
Of course, I would like to talk about something on the talk show.
Do it then. Fucking
Okay, I will. I don't know what any answer anyone else would be expecting other than One Piece.
oh man.
I
yeah.
was a wildly different
How has it
person in the
affected
sense
you?
that I wasn't much of a person at all, because like before that, I was just sort of like the oh yeah, I like whatever. I just put any music on. That was before I started like really solidifying the sort of things I like. That was almost like 8 years ago, because that was 2016, so that was 8 years ago now. Um, Once I got into that, my art style was affected very heavily, because I spent so much time like looking at the characters and studying them, and just like borrowing all the little bits and pieces I liked. It really showed me how varied character designs could be, and I didn't have to just limit myself to just a regular looking dude. Like I can get wacky with it. And it just kind of in 2016, I feel like One Piece was, I don't know, when I first started getting into it, a lot of the places I looked, a lot of people were not a big fan of it due to the art style, and that sort of feeling of me going, well, I like it anyways, was sort of the basis of me beginning to just like things regardless of
I hate that complaint about One Piece.
people's opinions on them. I know, it's so
there are
annoying.
specific things that like I don't like about it, but they're not. It's not even close to the same as the style. It's just like the choices for some designs, but those
Yeah.
are also not
Like,
even like
yeah.
it's really, really, really minor. I just prefer more diversity
yeah.
in female
That
bodies,
people-
but
I think that people complaining about art style generally don't know what art style means. They're just saying that, because I don't even think you could necessarily say, not that there isn't an art style. That's wrong. But that there isn't a consistent like philosophy in design for everything. Like literally.
I don't
every
even
single
think
thing
they're.
in-
I don't even think they're trying to be that smart. They're literally just saying that they're literally just too boring to like and appreciate the point of like cartooning, which is to like caricaturize things. So like when it goes
Mhm.
but that's also why people generally do not prefer cartoons. That's why animation gets age ghettoed. Obviously for me, and I'm sure other people, it's our favorite thing, but for most people
Yeah.
it gets age ghettoed, which really badly, which is lame. It's just a lame thing about humans, but
yeah, it's stinky.
but it's culturally relative because it doesn't get age ghettoed the same in every culture. So
Another thing that One Piece sort of like, I'm so glad the first big anime I got into was One Piece, because before I got into One Piece, in terms of like conflicts outside of like my direct bubble, I was just kind of like, whatever, I got bigger fish to fry, when I did in fact not have bigger fish to fry. But One Piece's like whole overarching theme of like liberation and just like general freedom, it sort of kind of opened me up to being a little more what's the word? A little more knowledgeable on things that are going on around me. Even if I'm still not the best at that as I should be as like a grown adult. I'm definitely better than I was, and I try to keep myself knowledgeable on the world outside of my little box.
I can help with that.
And also, and also like just I think the writing in general. I just like the humor, and I like the camaraderie all these characters have, even if some choices were made that I disagree with. It's mostly inspired. It's mostly changed me as like a creator. But I think that's fine as well. Oh,
Holy shit.
I can definitely see the One Piece influence in the works you do.
oh, absolutely. I like to make it obvious. I have no shame in my inspirations.
Does Kara want to answer it, or do you want to go last since it's your question?
I've been struggling ever since I thought of the question to even think of an answer that feels right for me.
I'm kind of the same. I can't pick.
I have one though.
I can pick a couple. The whole thing with me is I really value versatility, so I try to like, yeah. I don't like when I don't know something, but yeah. You thought of something though?
I do have an answer. It's a little lame. But I would say probably, actually, and this touches on what you just said, that you value versatility. I guess in a way I sort of do too, because for me it's probably Digimon that I think would be the most like foundational thing for me.
I love Digimon.
Huh.
I grew up
Interesting.
with Digimon as being probably the first thing that I ever watched in full, specifically Adventure, and then going on to watch the rest of the series. It sort of built my view on how I look at like relationships, just general morality, and like the way I feel like that show touched me is the way that I feel like the Bible fucking touches people.
That's so cute.
It's
Digimon
like
equals
That's
Bible.
cute.
Digimon is my Bible.
See, now you're
it's-
doing the cute stuff.
It's important to me. Thank you. I know I'm fucking cute. Everything I do is cute, actually.
Yeah, you're literally Bunny.
I'm literally Benoit. So, but yeah, it's like there are some specific things. Particularly, I remember in Adventure, Matt and Ty's relationship where they're constantly at odds with each other really helped me like work through having an older brother.
I have no
Also
brothers.
TK. Matt and TK. Matt was a really good
TK.
character. He had so much going on for him.
You like Mimi? I'm Mimi.
I like Mimi. Mimi's. I'm disappointed that it almost never feels like she fucking gets to do anything, even though she shows up all of the time.
I agree. Why don't I do
It
do
always
shit?
feels like they backseat
Let
her.
me do something. Every time I'm there, I'm
would-
just like, my controller's unplugged. Fuck.
Adventure
would-
2020. Adventure 2020 did a really good job with Mimi. I think.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I would love to say that, you know, I'm a Digimon fan, but I feel bad because I came really late into the party.
Nah.
No, me.
Ghost Game was the one that got me
I-
into it.
Man, Brady, don't even worry about it. There are Digimon fans being born right now.
I'm probably the latest. I only got into it because I had a like some autistic girl I was fucking was like showing me like, oh my god, look at Digimon. And I'm like, ooh, is this like Pokemon? She's like, no, it's better. I'm like, okay,
It is
Yeah,
better.
it is
Yeah,
better.
Brady,
Ooh,
to put it in
I
perspective-
agree. I like Andrewamon too.
Brady, to put it into perspective, Brady, One Piece started in 1997. I got into it in 2016.
Yeah, you're right.
It is
I
never
will
too
say-
late.
Only? Holy fuck.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't like check out Digimon, and this is true for a lot of other animes, I just kind of had this like irrational stigma where it's like, I don't know if I would really like anime.
Yeah, that's the.
And,
remember, I talked earlier. I talked about the East-West cultural divide and how it's like. I like media that blends it together because I don't like any mindset that categorically excludes things out for like DNA reasons. So yeah, I'm glad that helped
was-
you with that.
Yeah, there was just a couple animes I watched at first because, you know, they were the first ones recommended.
Yeah,
and those were
I
like,
actually get like
eh.
I'm not I'm like super mad at you, but I get annoyed at like how easy it is for like people to kind of come to exclude things categorically. There are like thousands of anime. The anime is not a genre; it's a medium. It's a media. It's a cultural medium of animation. It's so weird. It would be like, I don't know, like excluding every fucking every movie from France or every fucking you know, it's like that.
Phony fake French film.
What was I gonna say? I do, and I know this isn't well liked all around the server, and that's not like a shade thing. I just generally acknowledge this, but it is a hyperfixation of mine, and this is probably part of it. I had to give JJK credit because it really did open me up to watching more anime.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one, I think. Even though it's like extremely modern, it really did change a lot of people's ways of looking at like battle shonen. which stinks
Yeah, a
for
lot of
me,
that-
in my
a
opinion,
lot of-
because I wish it was a better show.
Yeah,
but
yeah, same. A lot. I was about to say, okay, the last time I got annoyed at someone for being like, I don't know about anime, is they were like, I don't like anime because it's all of these things that are not even disagreeable about why shonen shit sucks. And I'm like, anime is not just shonen shit, you fucking psychopath. Like, here, I'll show you
my
all this
God.
stuff. But yeah,
What was
It
the
was-
thing that I watched?
It wasn't even like a
Oh my
specific
God.
thing. I think
it's like, God, I can't
was
turn on the
because the
TV because it's always wrestling. It's like, what? Change the channel, fucking idiot.
it's because like the shows I watched weren't really the greatest picks. I think I watched Bleach and I forgot my opinion on that.
I like Bleach.
Then I was told to watch JoJo and I made the fatal mistake of starting on the first one, and I just was not a fan
Fatal?
of that.
Huh?
I don't think it's
I was-
that bad. It's
I was
not as cool
told
as
if
the
I
other.
didn't like part 1 to
I
skip
really
it.
liked
Part
one.
4 is my best. Anime 1. Maybe part 7.
I do like part 4 a lot.
What do you like?
I'm not 100% sure. I really like part 6
Oh, 6 is
Uh,
fine.
and 4.
As long as it's not 5. I fucking hate 5. Anyway.
I fucking
ain't
hate
seen-
5. It's so boring.
Wow, you have good taste.
seen
You have
any
good
judging.
taste. What the fuck? The bunny has good taste.
Does this mean
I
I
always
should
have good
skip
taste.
5 once I get to it?
I mean, up to you.
I don't know if
really
you should.
care.
I don't know.
You
I feel
probably
like it'd be
shouldn't
worth
skip
seeing just so you
5.
can
I
see
think
why
that
people have that
at
opinion.
least seeing it to the end and like seeing the final fight is not really necessarily worth it, but it's at least a reason to watch
I don't
it.
think JoJo isn't something that I would put on my like list of shit to see before you die, which is something I want to write for like a lot of different art, and it's just like it would be like a really conclusive thing for like these are the stage plays and like or whatever, you know. I really value I think it's genuinely important for humanity to have something of a shared cultural conversation, a shared sphere of ideas, a shared like noosphere of thoughts, of structure. More importantly, with stuff like facts, which is why, to bring it back to the thing about Alex Jones, why I think what I think the biggest problem, existential problem with humanity is that we don't seek out knowledge and truth, even though we have the capability. We actually seek out what makes us feel good, and the right has completely monopolized and sensationalized all their media apparatuses, and these are almost $1 trillion lawsuits now. Interference from foreign governments. You have people living in different worlds, and you can't use logic or argumentation. You can't persuade these people on anything other than like emotional points. It's really funny how Ben Shapiro would talk about like the facts don't care about your feelings. They completely flipped it around. Now they're entirely fucking feelings and not at all facts. It's
Another thing to randomly plug, there's a very, very good video about Ben Shapiro from a channel called Some More News. Everyone go watch that.
yeah, that's a good channel.
Very good channel.
What was I gonna say? It's not like I disliked part 1, by the way. It wasn't hooking me. That's all.
I don't even honestly. If you just went here and was just like JoJo shit, I wouldn't care that much.
JoJo is shit.
Yeah.
JoJo's terrible. It's just a bunch of big, sweaty men
Ah,
punching each
yeah.
other.
Goose is
You
drooling
know what?
right now.
I'm
I guess
Shut up!
drooling right now.
I guess
all
I gotta
drooling.
I gotta rewatch the show with that in mind. Maybe we'll
Well,
maybe we'll
I'm,
see.
I'm drilling for Goose, so maybe
Subliminal,
I
subliminal
lose you there.
messaging. While you're watching JoJo, you just have to picture oiled up man boobs, and then be like, okay, I can keep
I just
watching.
gotta picture Sisyphus Prime. That's all.
Yeah, but that's why this is kind of a good segue into what I would answer the question with, because I grew up in a very different way than almost anyone else on the entire planet, because I was constantly traveling and constantly seeing new things. Because my parents had to travel for work, it was not for a really long time where I even set foot in a single country, a single culture for more than a fucking year, basically. So I was constantly given new stimulus, new information, new entirely different ways of doing things. And I saw all these differences between people, and it was really chaotic, and it fucked me up in a lot of ways because I never had like permanent friends. I never had permanent school. I never felt like I belonged anywhere, and I still struggle with feeling like I don't belong in places because I feel like I bring so much different perspectives and into things. So I hang out in so many different groups, including this one. I talk to so many different people. When I was at the Federation, I mingled with every single union, and every single union has different people. The people working in steel and like fishing, the people working in computer science, the people working in the medical field, the people working in retail, people working in agriculture, are all extremely different people, and I never feel like I fit in anywhere at all. Partly because of like my upbringing. So I've come to really value that versatility and to realize that we're not actually that different, and that where we are different, we can appreciate these differences. We can come to harmonies. We can come to understanding, and that's why I really like. I actually also got into it relatively recently, but I love Star Trek because Star Trek was the original, the goated, the prime, like, diversity is our strength. There's a reason Martin Luther King said it was his favorite show. It was the only show he thought was worth a damn to play in his household back in the 60s, back when they separated you on where you could go based on the color of your skin. He begged Uhura, the woman who played the prominent black character on Star Trek, female Uhura, he begged her to stay, and she stayed because Martin Luther King was like, it's important for you. It's important for the nation to heal, to come together, for us for my dream that I gave in Washington, I think in 63 or whatever. It's important that you stay on because that inclusion means so much, because we internalize that. We internalize when we see a hero and the hero is always like the same thing. We start to subconsciously think, okay, maybe I'm not that. It's the same reason why you have like women who are traditionally stigmatized from a lot of STEM fields or from sports. We don't want to have any of that, and also we also don't want to demonize the main group that does get in. We don't want to say men are bad. We don't want to say men are pigs. We don't want to say white people are bad or whatever the fuck. We want to have everyone together. I want to listen to what they want to say. That's, I think, a huge strategic mistake we've made as progressives is all of the anti-dominant group hate. All of the like cis or men or hetero or men are like bad, and their issues don't matter, and their mental health doesn't matter. That's part of why we're seeing these emotionally charged podcasts bring people over. Why we have men like Alex Jones, why they're billionaires, or not billionaires, why they were millionaires, not anymore because of stupid shit he did, and he deserves to lose all of that money. But yeah, so I would pick Star Trek as like the big thing, but it's not really recent, and it almost doesn't make sense for the question because you said it was something that impacted me forever ago. So I would say probably Star Wars is the earliest thing I've been into that I'm still really into, that also talks about it doesn't really talk about like super deep philosophy in those topics, but it's the first fantasy, it's the first world building, it's the first sci-fi thing I really engaged with. And then kind of the middle answer to that is Ruby, which I think does have a lot of the same themes as Star Trek, and is also about the solidarity and strength in numbers, strength in diversity that Star Trek has, almost one-to-one with the kind of messages Star Trek brings. Maybe not as obviously not as politically complex, and more about like, you know, battle, like fighting tropes and shit, but Ruby's the other big thing. So I'd say like Star Trek, Star Wars, Ruby, and that kind of divides like my life for like how I grew up and all of that shit.
I will say, I wasn't necessarily thinking of a time period. I guess I did imply that, but I'm glad that you kind of interpreted the question in a way that you kind of gave a unique answer. I really like when people do that. I prefer that when I ask something, I don't over-explain it, and I often end up doing that anyway. But I love the way just asking a simple question about the things people enjoy and seeing the way they answer it lets you know a little bit more about them. I've always had a really, really big interest in like
Exactly. That's how
people consume things.
That's the main thing I study, art history. The reason we study it, it's not just to understand why art works and why we like the art we like. It's a lens. We bake into art the a little bit about ourselves. It's how Grand Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars is able to be such a good strategist. He has this huge art collection, and I always love that because I love military shit and I love art. So I'm like, oh my god, that's like me. And he looks into the art of a culture, and he sees what they value. So he knows how they're gonna fight, how they're gonna think. He's gonna understand their psychology, what they care about. And it's also kind of the inspiration for my magic system and my world building, which is based on which is kind of based on that. It's based on the idea that you can transfer the semiotic, which is the cultural significance, cultural attributes we ascribe to certain concepts of objects, and that relates to like philosophy of ontology. But I already feel like I'm getting into the weeds here. But it's almost like if you imagine a game, how you have different attributes, kind of how roguelites generate new weapons. It's like you can take the different attributes of something. So if I found like Excalibur, I could take all the honor, courage, and heroism that we ascribe to Excalibur. I could extract that and put it into like, I'll do just something really simple. It's not obviously... In my story, I hopefully want to come up with cooler stuff. But you could put it into like a drink, and that can be how magic of alchemy works in my universe. So you take the drink and suddenly you feel this courage and heroism and all of that shit. You literally make liquid courage, it's especially powerful when it connects to another trope or semiotic construct, which is like that, like liquid courage or whatever. And it's also cool because different cultures, the magic will work slightly differently. Like if you're against like let's say like the people you're against are looking at like Christians, Christian imagery related to Judeo-Christian culture are going to be more impactful to them than it is when you're maybe looking at the aliens in my universe who have totally different deities, or maybe don't even understand or have like a concept of deity in the same way humans do. And the whole point of structuralism and semiotics and like linguistics, all of those fields, and like structuralism, postmodernism, all the shit I talk about, one of the fundamental things that philosophers for that shit talk about is the idea that our language isn't just this like intrinsic one-to-one thing that connects our brains. It's actually like an abstraction. Wittgenstein called it like the Beatles in a box, or the idea that I don't know if the color red that I see is the same color red that you see. Our language is it's kind of like an abstraction. So that ties into the fact that it's a universe with a bunch of different races. So if different languages almost have different operating systems, because that's the analogy. If you don't have a word for a hammer, you're not going to think about like hammering in a nail. You're going to think of whatever tool your culture uses. There's better examples, but that's like the main analogy that I think kind of simplifies it all. If you can only really think with the equipment you're given. It's not true, but it's kind of like how people talk about Inuits having like hundreds of different words for snow. Oh, and one of my favorite ones is different cultures having different words for green and blue can actually detect the differences between the hex values of those things differently. So their language literally alters their perception of fucking light. It's really, really, really powerful. And there's other things where it's almost like the opposite, and it does imply this common thing with humans, like Kiki and Boba, which are two shapes. And most cultures will attribute the rounder shape to Boba and the sharper shape to Kiki. And it's like, okay, does that mean there's some intrinsic thing with our brains connecting the shape of our mouths, making those sounds with the object? But then there are these cultures that actually don't do that. And the more you look at it, the more you find how things are cultural and how things are relative. And that's what I got as a child, going to all these different countries and seeing all these different perspectives. It's like, oh, wow, like, here's all the things in common. Here's all the differences. We're all just humans, and at the same time we're all so different, and I'm really fascinated in the push and pull between that. Kiki and Boba is a really great one, and that's why I think I like to explore that with the languages of my alien races, and seeing the drama of how they all work together, kind of like in Star Trek. How can my federation of multiple races like get along with these different operating systems? How do they incorporate each other? How do they come to understand each other? How do they have that build that empathy and love and care for each other? How do we all get together and through this galaxy? And that's the main drama and push of my world building project, my story. So yeah. Oh god,
Yummers.
I'm gonna pass out.
Kara's just like consuming all of this knowledge.
Yeah. I've drained it, actually. It's gone from you now.
No, oh no, Bonnie's stupid now.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
I
like
like that
that,
noise.
like the second episode
Anyway.
of Delicious in Dungeon.
That kind of
Um,
reminds me of a fucking moment that happened at work. My bestie, we were talking.
Where you drained someone's knowledge and made them stupid.
No, I wish. I mean, that's kind of what happens when people enter our rooms. It seems like any intelligence they have just disappears. But what I was gonna say is we were reset in a room, me and my bestie. My bestie like kept on doing this like little goofball bit, you know, that just like saying the same word over and over. And eventually, I just like started laughing, and then I sat down. And they said, "Are you okay?" I made a noise that was exactly the fucking Terraria zombie grunt. I shit you not. I cannot do
One
that
time-
sound again. That was just a one-time moment, and it was really funny.
One time, and
Silliness.
exactly same thing. I've never been able to replicate it. I was hanging out with my friend, and we were laughing, and I did an exact replica of the Freddy Fazbear laugh, and I've never been able to do it again.
Freddy Fazbear.
I do that very frequently with a number of random sounds.
You're
Most-
a random sound.
Most frequently, it's been the screams of the scientists from Half-Life. Anytime I take damage in a video game, I'm like, no, stop!
I have the most autistic thing ever. When I bump or bump into something or hit something in real life, you know, get hurt or whatnot, I literally let out like fucking screams you would like expect fucking Vinny Vine sauce to make. I kid you not.
Oh.
So we're pretty far out there in terms of time,
Oh yeah.
and I'm getting a little bit hungry.
This was quite the episode, and I had a great time.
Me too.
This is probably
certainly was
this
quite
is
the
probably my
episode.
favorite episode ever.
Same.
Mm-hmm. I every time I do an episode with Bonnie, I wanna get like, obviously I couldn't do it myself. I'd have to get someone much smarter than me to get all of the total amount of time each of us were talking and like put it in a pie chart. I mean, I know
You're
what
a
the
fucking
answer is gonna
pie
be
chart.
for like who's the most who has the most words spoken, but it would be fun to visualize it. Honestly, I think you and me are tied because we both did like an equal amount of talking, I feel.
Oh, I thought you meant in
I
general.
don't know. I think Brady might have more than Goose.
I think
Maybe.
so.
For this episode, I think so. Yeah.
Because you definitely said more about BoJack than I did about One Piece.
I wish One Piece was less gay.
I wish it was more gay.
Nah, I'm homophobic.
Oh, I'm homophobic.
Oh, what the fuck, man? Why didn't you tell me?
Well, you shouldn't have
We're
been.
breaking up.
Shouldn't have
That's a
hated
good
gay
fucking
people.
comeback.
We can't. You can never break up if we were never dating.
We don't have to be dating to break up. The fuck? You're weird.
How would I break?
You're sick,
How
dude.
would I break you? You're a sick freak.
You're a fucking freak.
I'm gonna start us off with the ending stuff. It's mostly me that has the stuff. I don't think anybody else has much to shill. I know Bonnie does. Bonnie's got her fashion Instagram where you post all your dinky little outfits.
Oh yeah, I don't super shill too much. I mostly just shill getting involved in your local and other politics and volunteering and just getting. I want to see more people helping us make the world better.
True.
I'll shill shit when my art's all done or releasing.
Viewers, you know me. You know the goose. You know my Blue Sky and my TikTok. I got those. You know you can give me money by becoming a member because I need it. We can use it to get me a new chair so my back doesn't hurt all the time. What else is there? The Discord server. Join the Discord server, why don't ya? We got Bonnie and Kara in there all the time talking about this kind of stuff. It was very fun to watch it happen.
Oh yeah.
You guys got anything that you?
Yeah.
Decide? Go on.
Content coming to my channel very, very soon.
Yay!
What's Next 5 on YouTube.
Oh, you have a channel?
And I'm going to be doing this kind of discussion thing. I'm going to be doing a TTRPG set in my universe in UH. I'm going to be doing
I'm part of that, I think.
a little bit of power scaling. Yes, you are, Brady. You are. And Goose is invited. I don't know if Goose has decided.
You have
yet, but
I need to see your YouTube
that's what we're
channel.
doing. I haven't posted anything on the current one, and the old ones that I have are all hidden. So,
Okay.
but yeah, things coming soon. Things coming very soon now that I'm in my house and I can do whatever I want all the time.
Yippee!
Let me know if you need a talker.
Oh, I will definitely be happy to one.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm everywhere.
Cool.
I wish I could clone
Everywhere.
myself. You need to go to Camino.
I
That made me want to say something. Next person, let's go.
I was very much like, careful.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Brady, do you have anything to plug?
Not particularly, but I guess something to look forward.
No, you're supposed to plug me.
I'll plug you.
You're
Supposed to.
I was about
plug
to
me.
say
Well,
I'll plug you, but that's an after podcast.
That's-
watch it, you
Hey,
guys.
I need it, so I get to say it.
You guys are lucky. This is at the end of the video because if this is at the start of the video, I'd have to cut it out.
I said some very interesting things in DMs while this was all happening, and you guys just fully went out and said it right here.
Yeah, Carl was trying to get me into Bitcoin.
That's
I
not
wasn't
true.
really big on it.
Bitcoin. Something that will be coming out with my name on it is me and a little friend. We're working on a quick RPG maker game to just kind of see what we can do.
Is that the same one that you talked to me about?
No, this one is 100% a lot more less serious.
Oh, okay.
It is you play as objects. Think like Brave Little Toaster.
I'm an
in a way.
object.
Damn.
Whoa. You don't have
I'm a brave little
Women-
toaster.
Brave Little Toaster.
Little toaster.
There's a tank called the
That's
object.
fire.
That's pretty fucking cool, actually.
There's a guy in my shower called the Entity.
That's
Oh.
me. I'm sorry.
Get out of my
But the
shower!
water
Get
tastes
into
good.
Goose's shower.
Yeah, the
No!
object
The
906
water from the
is a
shower
Russian
tastes
light
good.
tank.
I can't believe you guys.
Oh man, I love you
well-
guys.
Car is the type of person to go, I needed this.
I needed this.
Me while I'm smoking a cigarette after. Never mind.
Me while gambling. I needed this.
Me sitting on top of a rock
What-
in a full moon.
What were you guys? I feel like there's something I'm not getting here. When I talk about clones, what the hell were you guys on about?
we'll tell you when
What?
you're older.
Oh.
Chad,
Are we gonna
this
stop
has been-
recording?
This has been Anything But Everything.
What?
Thank you very much for watching. Brady, any last words?
Golden Sigma.
Golden Sigma.
Don't end before you tell me.